Okay.
Oh,
Hi everyone.
Hi.
So
hey,
Hi.
hello.
to start, I think I've been on the move myself. So at the same time, there are a few developments that's been happening as well.
Mm.
So today, I would, uh, well, we want to align on few things, and we will go through the presentation as we have structured it
Yeah.
and take forward the discussion. So it'll be around mostly around the Melbourne CASI conference that is being discussed, as well as preparation, as well as few uh, updates from the committee as well. So let's can we start the presentation now? And Abby, maybe you can walk us through and then uh, in middle discuss about.
So I think Ali from Iran is trying to connect, but there's low connectivity because of the riots right now. So he says he's trying. And then we have Hediya from Turkey who will also be joining us shortly, as well as John from Vietnam. But I think we can start. So this is basically today's agenda. So as with previous meetings, we start with the committee updates, and then we go into the main crux of the meeting, which is the YEGAP activities at the conference in Melbourne.
Mhm.
So I'll go ahead to the committee updates. Kulan is not able to join us today, but she did give me these points to report as updates to all of you. So as far as the Learning and Networking Committee, we have finished 3 sessions of YEGAP Talks. And we had a meeting recently with Michael and the Secretariat as well, sort of like reviewing how that went. And I think now the plan is to test working with a targeted audience, like universities and schools, because the turnout was pretty low for the first 3 YEGAP talks. So I think we were Kulan was saying, Kulan and Michael were saying if we get sort of like an audience with students, it might be better to do that. We're also finalizing. They also want to start doing networking events, both online and offline, for entrepreneurs and businesses in the region, as well as in each individual country. And I think she's coming up with an agenda or a plan for that. So that's as far as the Learning and Networking Committee is concerned. And then for engagement and branding, Charmaine, I think might be late today, and I don't think Jay is in transit, so he might not be joining us. So I'll do the updates for this. So for the engagement committee, right now we're doing the pins and we've got samples. So this is basically what the sample looks like. So this is for the YEGAP oath taking at the conference in Melbourne during the gala dinner. So we basically all of you need to decide whether we're going for gold or we're going for silver. The gold one has gray text. The silver one has black text. And seeing it in person, the gold seems a bit nicer, but the text on it might be better off as black. So I don't know if anyone has any suggestions, or if we can decide which one to have done, then we can proceed with this comment.
So yeah,
Yeah, gold,
yeah,
black text.
Gold with black text. Okay.
Yes.
yeah, gold with black text. Mostly.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay. So this is about it's not too big. I think it's about 25 millimeters. And you attach it by a very strong magnet. So unless anyone else has any suggestions, or I think gold with black text seems to be what everyone is going for. So I'll go ahead and do gold with black text then, if that's the case. And then we're also having a flag or a banner made. So these are our 3 logos. So it's basically a choice between these 3 logos against a white
Hmm.
flag or banner. So again, if anyone has
The
What?
I think
first one. Yeah. For me, the
Uh,
first one, I think,
the
with
first
the
one.
whole name. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone, because it does have our name spelled out. Okay, so we'll proceed with the first one then. And then another thing that's also in the works um, for the engagement and branding committee is the website. So far, these are the proposed tabs and content that we want on there. So this is the basic structure. So we have an about YEGAP section, which has history, mission and vision, Cassie and YEGAP, members of the executive committee, former chairperson, Ms. Periquet, contact details, and then we detail each of the committees, our membership, and then awards, training programs, position papers under policy advocacy. We also have publications, which is the YEGAP newsletter, any news and press releases, a calendar of events, and the organizations that we have alliances with. So this is just the proposed structure. And again, if anyone has any comments or suggestions, I think feel free to chime in or to let us know. As far as next steps for this, so the domain is we already have the domain ready for use. So it's going to be yegup.cassie.biz. We really just need a designed website to sort of like plug it in. And this also comes with an email info@yegup.cassie.biz. And we also currently have a Gmail account as well. So next steps would be we need to find a web designer to design the look and layout of the website. So if anyone has, again, suggestions and recommendations, these are welcome. I'm also asking Charmaine about this, who's one of the co-chairs of the committee. And then Mig suggested that while the design, the layout is being done, we can perhaps put sort of like a placeholder page with the latest YEGAP activities, some information about like the conference, relevant contact info in the meantime, so that there's at least something there that we can share with other people. And then the website upkeep in the future can be done by Cassie. So I think we have it's going to be maintained by the same person who upkeeps the Cassie website. And then content updating can be done by us as well, of course, with direction from the chairman and the committee chairs. And then the aim is to have this up by November. So Mangesh, do you want to discuss this further? Any? Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a few requests, especially from partnership and membership committee coming, saying that some of the partners, some of the prospective partners, uh, are always asking for the website link, because that's now in the digital age, right? Identity as well. So I think it's prominent now that we have a website, and before the Kati event as well. So maybe Abby, Chamin, and Jay and us need to get together to decide on how do we take this forward on development. So maybe we should set up a call, Abby, on that, and take that decision on who will design and develop this particular website at the shortest period of time with good quality. That's one. The second is I like the idea of putting a placeholder, something like a one-pager brochure kind of stuff about information about YEGAP, so that it's not blank and there is some information, uh, out there. So it can be a one-pager with certain introduction values, and different stuff. So maybe we develop something uh, like that as well, Abby, and agree to that. So maybe you can share it with Ramin J and myself, and we can agree on that particular info and then just put it up there for until we get the website up and running. So that's my recommendation. So if anyone has any comments or anyone knows or has capability on building the website, then we can also.
I think we might also want to prioritize, like, because there's going to be, this is a lot of tabs on a website, and if the goal is to get something up there fairly quickly, I think we might need to prioritize which of these should go there first, and then just continuously add on to it later on. That might also be something that can be done. But we can probably discuss this further when we have a call with the branding committee to discuss the website.
Yes. The assumption that I'm having is we have most of the content, but whatever content is not there, again, as you correctly mentioned, this is a continuous process of evolution, right? So the committees will keep on having the updates. There'll be new members coming up as well. This will be a continuous process. So we'll have the discussion with the branding, but at the same time, Abby, maybe we can decide which of the content is already available and which is not, and some of them might be immediately required. Then we'll develop those content and make it available.
Yeah, we have most of the about YEGAP section. It just needs to be organized. The publications as well and the alliances. The membership, we do have a regular member directory that's kept up to date. Also how to join. The benefits of membership, we don't currently have like something that really lists all of it down. So that's something that needs to be I think compiled. The training programs I suppose we could add on links to the previous YEGAP talks. So that'll be one thing. Also the calendar of events for now is mainly with the conference in November. So, but yeah, we can work on this, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can get it started and we can keep it updating. We can keep on updating based on the
Yes, of course.
progress. And the website should be. We'll discuss this during the branding meeting, but should be content management, right? So it should be able to update from the back end by you or
Yes.
the architect.
Yeah, typically I think Mig is able to do that as well. He just needs content to put in. It shouldn't be that difficult. Okay. So the next one is the Membership and Partnership Alliance Committee. So Michael, I think had an urgent business meeting, so he did ask me to do the report on his behalf. So let me just share his presentation. So as far as the Membership and Partnership Alliance Committee, so this committee is still having regular monthly meetings. And so far, we've had 3 MOUs that have been signed. So first one is with APEC, and then the next one is with the Nepalese Young Entrepreneurs Forum, and then with the China Europe International Business Association. We are currently waiting on like several others, which are listed here. So I think Michael's currently busy with this. And then member status. So currently we have 27 executive committee members, 7 regular members, and 33 associate members. Actually 34 because there's a new one that hasn't been processed yet. So we're numbering, if my math is correct, I would say about 70, 71 total. There was also a new member orientation day last August 24. Unfortunately, the turnout was a bit low. We had a lot of confirmed attendees who, I think at the last minute just weren't able to make it. So there was only about 14. But I think in the future, this might be something that we still want to do, like an orientation day for new members. We just need to be able to know or assure that they will be coming next time. And then Michael is asking everyone to please recruit 2 new members or two new members to YEGAP in the meantime. This is something that he stressed and he wanted me to relay to all of you. And then yes, he did have a meeting with the learning committee with Kulan, and then they discussed networking meetings and B2B meetings that can be set up, I think, in the future for our members as well, so that they get something a bit more out of this. That's it for Michael.
Thanks, Abby. So any comments or feedback for the membership committee? Okay, so if nothing, then I have a few things before we go to the next. So this is great. I think Michael is not there today, but he's really been working hard on getting ourselves to the world, and having 70 plus members is great. Another thing, Abby, if we look at our partnership, membership, and also our network, can we also develop a stats based on the connectivity that we have? So reach out to the number of young entrepreneurs. So this is all based on the branding, right? So for example, we've signed up with Nepalese young entrepreneurs. They've got over 700 young entrepreneurs, right? And then we're signing with ASEAN. They might have 5,000 entrepreneurs within the network. So that is our outreach, right? And then similarly with our own committee members as well. So we want to strategize, saying that what is the network that we have based on our partnership, alliance, and membership as well. So it's like calculating the net worth of any asset. But this is what we want to do. So that's going to be our huge asset for YEGAP. So did you get me?
Okay, sure. I think we can develop a, like, you said stats, right, on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, I believe we can also add that to the deck, the introduction deck.
Yeah.
So I'll work with Michael, I think, on that.
Abby?
Yes.
Can I? Did Michael say anything about certain criteria for recruiting new members? Because I missed the other meeting, so.
Oh, well, we do have, I think for now, the criteria, like for the general YEGAP membership, if we're recruiting members, is that they need to be, first of all, entrepreneurs, and then
Okay.
49 years or younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then that they basically agree to join the organization, sort of contribute their experience, their time, and all of that. So yeah, I think so. If you, and as executive committee members, you are you can recruit members into YEGAP.
Okay.
So they'll be classed as associate members. But the as far as like regular and associate membership goes, those have the same privileges and benefits. It's just that regular members are endorsed by national, like, chambers of commerce, while associate members are endorsed by executive committee members. So there's just that small difference, but essentially they're just the same. So if you want to recruit anyone, if you know other entrepreneurs who would be interested in joining, feel free to recruit. I can send you, I think we have the nomination forms on the.
Yeah, we have in the drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have if you have like specific questions, for example, you can always just WhatsApp me or send me an email. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks.
I'd also like to add that you don't have to, the member that you'd like to recruit do not necessarily have to come from a CASI primary member, but they can be from non-member, also non-CASI member country. So, but as long as the candidate is endorsed by a member of the executive committee, then he can be a member of an associate member of YEGAP.
Any other comments from anyone?
So, for last request, as Michael mentioned, if we can keep our eyes open for at least 2 members from now to the CASI event and advice from the executive committee. So, Abby, maybe you can send an email out to the executive committee and WhatsApp as well, requesting them. And then
Sure.
And I think also Michael mentioned before that if any member of the executive committee knows some other young entrepreneurs group, either within his country or outside his own country, that he thinks might be a possible partner of YEGAP, and probably also to have an MOU signed with them, then he's asking if it's possible for them to also invite this young entrepreneurs group from within their country or from outside that they are familiar with for MOU signing and potential sources of new members of YEGAP.
So moving on, I think the next one is strategic planning, governance, and bylaws, and this is chaired by Ramel. So, Ramel, the floor is yours for your updates if you have any.
Yeah, we have not much updates because we have not really done some meetings, but I've been attending the membership committee, and most of the policies will be coming from there on recruitment and of course how we do things. But we're still waiting for policies on that will be coming from the committee on partnerships and the MOU. Although we have some templates already done, and they're already, I think they're already on the in the shared drive. Is that right, Abby? Do we have a template already for?
We have a template for sort of like YEGAP, the description of YEGAP. I don't think we have a specific template for YEGAP partnerships.
For the MOUs. Yeah.
Yes.
So since like for example, like we tried to create a simple MOU with AYEC, and they had a very like, how many pages was it? It's like it's a very long and wordy MOU that they created for YEGAP, and so maybe the format should be coming from our side from this day on, so that it's easier for us to agree. Because like for example, like that what we have with AYEC, it's so hard for us to put up a policy if we will be waiting for the other side to put up an agreement all the time. So I think we should put up our own. And for the others, for the bylaws practically final already. So it's just more of the planning and governance and strategic planning for the next year. Maybe we should start creating a schedule already, and for the programs, for the plans of each and every committee should be submitted for the calendar of next year. But we will have a meeting very soon for strategic planning and governance. It's not yet needed at this time. Thank you.
Okay, so unless anyone has any comments or questions for Ramel, I think we can move on to the next committee.
Maybe I can add on Romel's comment. Most of the MOUs that we have signed or are in the process of signing with the groups that were identified earlier in one of the slides, they followed more or less the same content, and I think our partner there, they agree with this. The only issue we had, as Romel mentioned, was the MOU with the ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Council, because the ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Council, they insisted that we follow their template, because they said that's the usual template that they use for other MOUs that they sign with other organizations. So that was, I think, the only one where we had to follow their MOU format there. But the rest, I think, we have had no problem. So they agree more or less with the format that was originally, I think, also formulated mainly by Michael, and it's now being under process already, or have been signed already.
Hmm.
Okay, since then perhaps maybe we can just put that as our standard forms and then for review of our future partners and to be included in our drive. So next time when they ask us to when we ask another organization for MOU on partnership, we already have something to show to them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Romeo. I think one thing that you mentioned, to start planning for next year on strategic planning. Let's start discussing on that as well, and that should be part also. One of the thing is also integrate that as point of discussion for EC meeting strategic meeting of EC in Melbourne that we are planning as well.
Okay, so
Okay.
anyone else? Sorry, Ramel, were you going to say something?
And I was saying it's all good. Thanks.
Okay. So if I'll move on to the next committee. So we have the Policy Advocacy Committee, and this is chaired by Rishab, who is here today and who will give us updates.
Thanks, Abby. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Been a while since we all met, but good to be hearing sort of what's happening in preparation for Melbourne. So just to give you a flavor on what we are up to in the Policy Advocacy Committee, I'm also joined by my colleague Arjun Goswami, who should be here in our membership group here. So Arjun is based in our Delhi office. He heads our Policy Advocacy group at the firm. And both of us will give you a short update now on the policy paper that we're writing and the thinking about we looked at two sectors very closely, the textile sector and the EV sector across Southeast Asia, and how that is going to play out from a cross-border ease of doing business and ESG perspective. So I'll just share my screen in a second. Arjun, are you there?
I'm here. I hope you can hear me.
Yes. Do you want to give a quick update on our policy paper in about 1 or 2 minutes?
Sure. Challenging in 2 minutes, but we'll definitely try. So thank you very much, Rishabh, and good morning. The paper we're writing, we're proposing to write, looks at ESG progress and cross-border activity in ESG across CACCI members. And the way we want to do it is look at things both overall in terms of ESG, in other words, without reference to sectors, and then look at these two specific sectors, which we have chosen. Textiles, because it's a major employer, it has major social implications. EVs, because it has a multiplier effect across many segments for sustainability, and it's a forward-looking technology area. In terms of the country selection, Australia is a kind of developed country standard, but we've chosen 2 South Asian countries, Bangladesh and India, and 3 Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam, to give us sort of diverse coverage. On the general sector agnostic ESG side, this part of the slide tells you what we're planning to cover. We are looking at 4 or 5 things. We're looking at corporate responsibility, national taxonomy, disclosures, corporate social responsibility, and whether decarbonization targets have been met. So is there a net zero target? Is there a legislative requirement for corporate responsibility by boards? Is the country working on national taxonomy, etc.? So having done that for the 6 countries, we then turn to textiles. And in textiles, we want to organize it in 2 parts. We want to look at findings that will look at the unique challenges of that particular sector. If we're thinking of textiles and we think of the level of employment in it and the transition that would have to take place to sustainability, what would those challenges be? And then fiscal regulatory measures to promote the sector, plus particular social aspects of the sector, typically supply chain and labor regulations. On the regulatory front, we want to see whether the country has something comprehensive, sufficiently long-term, periodic, and neutral, with a sort of coordinated institutional design mechanism to take sustainability forward. And these are the parameters under which we would look at it for each of the 6 countries. Now, we would do something similar for EVs, except that the unique challenges of the EV sector would be different. They would reflect, amongst other things, what kind of supporting infrastructure is there, battery swapping, charging infrastructure, etc., and then look at the fiscal measures, regulatory measures, and the social aspects of it. Now, if we're thinking about the social aspects of the EV industry, we're thinking about, is it capturing the lower end of the spectrum in terms of two-wheelers as well as public transport, not just private transport? Where is policy headed? And then the regulatory side, we would look at in the same way that we looked at for textiles. The last item that we want to look at is, are companies in individual countries able to move cross-border? Are they facing barriers to entry? Do they require special regulatory approvals? From the financing side, on the equity end, are they able to get foreign investment into the sector? Are they able to get debt financing in? Are there any restrictions on products which they need for their manufacturing process? So this gives us some cross-border connect picture. And with that, we would then try to conclude. Now, Rishabh, I've exceeded my 2 minutes, but one request that I would have is that Rishabh has kindly agreed to help on the India part. For the other countries, we would, it would be very helpful if we could have connects with some nodal agencies and some industry players and industry associations. We have a list up, which maybe we can convey through Rishabh to the relevant countries. Let me stop there. Thank you.
Thanks, Arjun. And just for the benefit of the group here, the kind of difference or the expansion to what we are discussing today to what we discussed maybe 2 or 3 meetings ago is that we've kind of made it a bit sharper into these 2 industries, textiles and EVs. So as opposed to a more general policy paper discussion just on, what is ESG across all these various metrics, we made it a bit more specific. So we're going to set the context with a broader overview, talking about what the regulatory and legal environment is in these 6 countries over here, and then apply these filters into these 2 industries. So you get a much more clearer, comprehensive picture on what's happening in these countries for these 2 sectors. We also want to conclude by having some specific recommendations also on what things like CASI and YEGAP can do to actually go to governments and say that to improve your cross-border ease of doing business, we recommend 1, 2, 3, 4. So looking at it from a perspective of a company having a factory in India and Vietnam and Bangladesh, what can be done to harmonize the legal and regulatory environment across these countries to have sort of interoperability of investments and manufacturing scale across all of them. So that's the kind of angle we want to give to our paper. It'll be about 30 something pages or so. So it's going to be quite chunky. And we want to have this completed and sent to the group for their comments in about a month's time or so, Arjun. Near Diwali. So let's say by October 20th, 21st, something. So about a month from today.
Yeah.
And we will stop happy to answer any questions or any feedback on this approach.
Yeah, you mentioned that it's going to be a 30 page paper.
Yes.
Would it be possible also for you to come up with a summary, maybe two at least, or probably 3-page summary? And specifically also focusing on the recommendations that you will have. Because I think the recommendations will be really very important as far as the CASI members are concerned, because they will know how to proceed on how to make sure that these recommendations are also implemented by the government regulations or industry associations concerned as well.
So absolutely. We also want to make the paper a bit more visual. So, more data charts, more sort of, reference-based discussion. And then we want to, like you're saying, package it into a sort of shorter summary, 3-4 pages as well, with sort of more focus on the recommendations and the next steps as part of this survey. So we'll do that also.
Okay.
And I know there's, I'm just messaging Abby as well. There's a policy advocacy WhatsApp group with about, I think, 8-9 people. So now we are setting up some calls with the sort of group across the various countries and get their feedback on these kind of what's happening on the ground in these countries as well.
So after the completion of the paper, you say by November, that's the timeline, correct?
October.
October.
The end of October.
I was happy you said November, but
Okay.
This is to allow it to be published on the Melbourne website and all, because there's a one policy committee meeting in Melbourne also. So we want to have this available for the meeting when that happens in Melbourne.
Yeah, that policy advocacy meeting is scheduled on the 28th of November. So we can talk about it again later on.
Yeah.
How it can be presented at that meeting.
Okay. So are we happy to discuss further? Otherwise, over to you.
Okay,
Hi,
you
Rishabh,
also.
Mangesh here.
Oh,
Yeah. Hi.
How are you?
Where are you? I can't see. Good, good. And it's early morning for you in New York.
Yeah, it's really early morning. So yeah, this is great. I think the structure, and we plan to launch it in Melbourne as planned, right? So that's the only question. Yeah, the structure looks great. I think the content and definitely the secretary will help on specific countries. But Amador, but I see some of the countries we don't have country members there. Is it true? Like Indonesia, we don't have. You could show that.
We have.
We have a member in Indonesia where, although in the past few years they have not been as active as they used to be. But I think recently our vice president from Australia, Peter McNullan, touched base with the chairman of Kadin, Indonesia, and he expressed his interest to join our meeting in Melbourne. So I hope he'll be able to come and bring along a delegation from Kadin, Indonesia.
But this is with regard to supporting Rishabh and his team on connecting the associations there, so that they can get information that is required for specific countries.
Yeah. If Rishabh can communicate with us on exactly what kind of support he may need from the CASI Secretariat, then we will do what we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
And I think, sorry, Rishabh, I think there are 6 countries information required for. So what about, you just mentioned about the Indian side. So about the India's information, do you still, you complete some part of the India's information or not yet? I mean,
the India stuff we have fully ready, and we are very active in most of these sectors and part of our work anyway. Just to repeat the other countries, it's India, Bangladesh, Australia, Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam. So I think most of the stuff, some of it's available online in English, etc. But to get kind of the on-ground perspective from what's happening from the relevant equivalent of organizations over there, also on-ground companies, Big Four advisors, people like McKinsey, BCG, etc. To get kind of the policy perspective and also the regulatory perspective, we'll need some help maybe for a half an hour conversation with somebody on the ground over there, just to get kind of on-ground inputs. So we'll send you like a more formal kind of request saying we want to talk to somebody in this sector, this industry, etc. Then we'll take the help of the secretariat to get those going.
Yes, it will be more useful. Yes.
Abby, back to you.
okay. So I'll move on to the next committee. Richard is not able to join us today, but as far as the programs and events committee, the bulk I think has to do with planning for the Melbourne conference. So I'm just gonna get on with that. So this is our current activity lineup for the conference and the days surrounding the conference up in Melbourne, or sorry, down in Melbourne. So on the 28th and 29th, both of those are conference days that start at about 9 a.m. But the sessions that are of particular interest to YEGAP is the breakout session at 11 a.m. on day 1. And then on day 2, the gala dinner, which will have the YEGAP oath taking as part of the program. So for day 1 of the conference, we do also have, I believe, business matching meetings, which are probably also of particular interest to the members. And then, of course, the rest of the breakout sessions for our other product and service councils. And then for day 2, that's when the bulk of the plenary sessions will be. And I believe, I think Mangesh might be one of the speakers for one of the plenary sessions, but we'll have to confirm that also. And then for November 30, this is, so Visit Victoria and the Victorian Chamber of Commerce, I think are working on like a special tour as an optional add-on for attendees of the conference that they can join. We're also trying to organize a visit to a local company, and the Victorian Chamber is also helping us with this. There's also plans for an evening social function or an event at a local restaurant or pub. And then for December the 1st, that's going to be when the strategic EC meeting is going to be held. There's also plans for a meeting with a local young entrepreneurs group. And again, the Victorian Chamber is currently helping us with this as well. So for the breakout session, based on communications with Mangesh and Richard previously, I think the keynote speech, or our keynote speaker is going to be Lisa Tay. She's based in Australia and she's a digital marketing entrepreneur. And then the original plan had been to have a panel discussion with 3 types of young entrepreneurs and give them about 10 minutes per speaker. I think that's still the plan unless anyone wants to change it or shift it or something. I don't think we quite have confirmed speakers for the panel discussion. I think for now we only have the keynote speaker. So I think that's something that needs to be decided or at least confirmed. And then there's also Q&A and concluding marks. So Mangesh, do you want to delve into this?
Yeah. So I think the names for the young entrepreneur, the 3 panelists were also identified, right? The name for the 3 panelists were also identified last time when we discussed, right?
So this is the same agenda from last time, but I don't think we've confirmed anyone from the panel discussion as of yet. I think there were suggestions. So
yeah,
I don't think we have anything that's like really set. When we met with the Victorian Chamber also, they were asking about this as well because they were asking if Lisa will just be in for the keynote speech and then be out, or are we going to organize a panel discussion with her involved?
Yeah, it's going to be where she will start and but she'll be part of the panel. It's not about giving the keynote speak and leaving, but she'll be part because we want that Q&A also to we want her to be part of the Q&A as well. And
yeah, if that's the case, then we would need to, I think, probably refine the topics, or at least specify first the speakers and like more specific sort of topics within this theme that we want for the breakout session, just so the panel is a bit more focused. So that's something that also needs to be, I think, decided on.
Let's catch up with Richard also and try to see. We discussed about having the panelists probably from our EC itself as well, right? So that we're promoting our members also around.
Mm-hmm.
So let's discuss with Richard and start reaching out to the panelists and start confirming. So why don't we set up a call?
Because I believe there was also talk about each of the panel members being ideally from a different region in Asia. So not all North Asia, not all Southeast Asia, not all South Asia.
Right.
I remember, I think Jay might have been one of the suggested panelists for, I believe, second generation entrepreneur. But I'd have to confirm with him about that also, or we'd have to confirm with him about that, as well as for the startup and the professional. I think the professional manager, someone from Iran, was also suggested. But yeah, so we need to basically pin down the speakers and the specific things that we would like them to talk about for this panel. And we can probably set up a meeting with you and Richard to discuss that, discuss the finer details of that.
Sure.
Sure.
Let's open the floor for any suggestions that anyone might have for the panelists as well, based on the topic if they have anyone in the mind or anyone would like to participate.
Okay.
Thanks. Over to you.
Sure. Then let's move on to. So as part of the YEGAP oath taking, there will be an oath that will be recited. So this is the proposed oath that Cassie, that we I think have. So basically, I'd like to ask everyone to read through and see if they have any comments, proposed changes. Otherwise, we use just this. Rishabh suggests to remove the last line.
Yeah, it's not very secular. So I think just to make everybody comfortable, I think the last line is a bit divisive. So I would remove that. Up to lofty vision is fine. Last line can be considered for removal.
Okay.
Agree on that.
Okay, so we'll remove the last line and then
we'll remove the last one.
Sure, and then just use the rest of it. So everyone is okay with this.
Abby, excuse me,
yes.
is there another line?
No, that's so help me God is the last line.
Oh, so that's, but it doesn't show here. Can
Oh.
anyone see that line? So help me God, that sentence. Okay, so everybody see that and know any further comment on all that, it will be okay.
Yeah, I think that it might be the TV in the conference room is cutting off the last line.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. So, okay. So moving on. So as mentioned earlier, these are the post-conference YEGAP activities, which include the company visit, the social function, the meeting with the local YE groups, as well as the strategic executive committee meeting. So all of this, we're seeking help from the Victorian Chamber to sort of like help us connect with the local companies and local groups so that we can do this. So for the visit to the local company, this is scheduled for Wednesday, November the 30th, and it's open to CASI and YEGAP members. The time, capacity, and the lineup of companies is still to be announced. We're still trying to confirm the details. However, I would like to ask if anyone has any specific industries or companies that you'd want to kind of like visit or request. That might be something that if we have any specific suggestions, that might help sort of like the Victorian Chamber to narrow down which companies to set us up with for a visit. So if anyone has any suggestions, please feel free to speak now, or if you want to let us know after the meeting, that's also okay.
Choosing industries or specific companies, do you think we can have some company list from Victorian Chamber of Commerce? It'll be very helpful.
I think we'll try to ask them that.
Well, as of now, according to our last meeting with the Victorian Chamber of Commerce, they said that they have been talking to some of their member companies on the proposed visits by the members of the YEGAP. And hopefully by next week, we're going to have another meeting with the Victorian Chamber on Monday. They will be able to come up with the companies that have agreed to meet with YEGAP already. But initially we suggested to them, as I think earlier discussed in earlier meetings of the EC committee, that members may want to visit companies that are innovative or that are engaged in innovative products or processes. as well as probably even incubation centers, or even IT related companies. So these are, I think, some of the companies that they're looking at from among their member companies. But we can also check with them if they can provide us with a list of industries that their members are engaged in or belong to, and we can pass this on to you if you want to visit any company in any of the industries included in the list that they may give us. So we'll be meeting with them on Monday morning, Taipei time, and we should have some updates from their talks to their member companies on the company visits by the YEGAP members on November 30. That will be afternoon.
Okay. If no other comments, I'm going to move on to the next one.
So, Abby,
Yes.
on that, maybe we can you can put a request on the WhatsApp so that the EC member who is not here and the members also they can request anything that they want to visit, or put the request out there. So.
Sure. Okay. I'll send a message to the wider WhatsApp group later today. So for the YEGAP social event, this will be also on Wednesday, November the 30th, at night, sometime between 6 and 9 p.m. Then it'll last about 2 hours. So it's going to be open to YEGAP members and invited guests. The venue capacity that we asked for from the Victorian Chamber was about minimum or 30 to maximum of 60 people. And then there's going to be canapes, food, drinks. So these are primarily, I think, restaurants, bars, pubs. And then we got venue suggestions from them. And there's usually a minimum spend at these places, which is anywhere between 3,500 to 5,000 AUD, depending on the venue. So we do have, these are the venue suggestions. So this one's a bit farther, but it is like an indoor basement cellar, sort of like private space. This is about a 13-minute walk from the convention center, which is the conference venue, and I'm assuming that's where most will be staying, just around that area. It's not that far of a walk, but it's farther out than the rest of the venue suggestions. So this is much closer, a 7-minute walk. This is an outdoor bar. There is a roof overhead, but it's open air. And then this one is very literally right beside the convention center. So there's two options for Melbourne public. One is a semi-private area with terrace access, the east wall, and the other one is the actual terrace. It's outdoors, but they say they have a retractable roof. So November will roughly be, I think, spring transitioning to summer. So it should be good, theoretically, ideally good weather. The next one is the boat builder's yard. This is completely outdoors. There is no shelter. This is also fairly close to the convention center, right by the river. So it's a 2-minute walk, and it's a semi-private space. And then the last one is, this is the farthest of them. It's called Riverland. It's a private deck space, outdoors with shelter, but the downside is that it's a 25-minute walk. So these are basically the venue suggestions for the social event or function that we want to hold. So I think based on distance, we would have to, if we're going to go by distance, then it will narrow it down to number 2, number 3, and number 4. If you're going to base it on distance and like whether or not there's a shelter just to account for bad weather, then that leaves us with number 2 and number 3. So there's no we haven't really decided which of these venues to go for. So I think Richard, I think, and Mangesh might be the ones who will be the deciding factors. But I think if anyone has again comments or suggestions or preferences for either of these places, now would probably be a good time to say.
Personally, I vote for number 2. It's my preference. Looks nice.
Yeah, they all look very nice actually.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Hadiya prefers number 2 as well.
Okay. I think let's look at the closure one, and I think a lot of are coming for number 2.
Great.
Yeah.
So, so 2 things I think we need to do on this. One, definitely work with Richard. So on that meeting also we'll discuss this. The second is start getting confirmation, because there's a minimum spend, and how do we look at that from our perspective as well. So we'll discuss that as well.
Sorry,
And
I
the minimum,
didn't hear the first thing that you said.
no, first is align with Richard.
Uh-huh,
the-
okay.
Right? That number 2 is something that
Confirmed.
most of us are recommending. So let's start converging into that. And second one is start getting confirmations on who will be there. And the third one is how do we manage the logistics and the commercial for this as well. And then maybe once we once we decide, now it's decided, we put a structure around it and start putting an invitation together, and who all should be present in the social event out here, right? So that we invite. So is it only YEGAP or YEGAP and Select Kasi, or even the young entrepreneurs of Victoria? So let's discuss that on this, so that we have everyone integrated. It should be more of an integration.
Okay, so we can probably discuss this with Richard at the same time as we discuss the breakout session agenda.
Yeah.
And then, so again, the meeting with the local YE groups, this is tentatively scheduled on December 1st, which is a Thursday. Most of the details are still to be confirmed, but it will likely be in the afternoon and will be open to YEGAP members. And then for the strategic executive committee meeting, again, Thursday, December 1st, I think this is either going to be around breakfast or lunchtime, and will last about 2 hours and open to only YEGAP executive committee members. The agenda is to be announced, but I think the bulk of it will probably be discussing plans for the next year, sort of like events, activities, the direction with which to take the group. So that's, I think, roughly what it is, but we still have to push out sort of like a specific or a tentative agenda for this.
Right.
And then
So on the strategy meeting, right? Romel, let's catch up with Romel on this as well. You, me, Romel, and the secretary. Romel, you're there, so let's catch up on this, Romel. Yeah.
Yes,
Maybe sometime next week.
let's just put up a meeting so we can discuss in more detail.
Sure.
Or do you
Sure,
do?
Romel. No, we'll set up a meeting. So you, me, and the secretary. So if Abby can coordinate that, then
Okay.
okay, so for CASI conference updates, so we already have ticket prices set by the Victorian Chamber. So registration currently is not yet open, but I think they're aiming to get it out and open and available, I think by tomorrow afternoon. So once registration is open, we'll be sending a link to everyone. So whoever wants to attend it can go ahead and register, because they do have an early bird rate, which is about 100 Australian dollars cheaper. And I think that's only until October 9. I'm not sure if they're planning to extend this because their registration is opening a bit late. But so the early bird rate as of now is $570. The regular rate is $670. There's a group discount. There's a discount if you're buying tickets for 5 or more people. I think it's about 50 AUD less. And then there's also individual gala dinner tickets for 220 AUD. And this is primarily for spouses or partners who will be coming to the conference, but not really attending the conference, just the gala dinner. And then the tickets include access to the 2-day conference at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Center. There's going to be welcome cocktails on the first day, at the end of the first day of the conference. And of course, there's the gala dinner, the second day, at the end of the second day, which will be held at the rooftop of Crown Melbourne. So this is a really nice sort of like venue for that. And of course, that's when the oath taking for YEGAP members will be. So there is also discounted room rates for these 3 hotels. Both the Novotel and the Pan Pacific Melbourne are right beside the convention center. I think connected. There's meant to be some sort of like walkway to connect these hotels to the convention center, so very convenient. The Crown Melbourne is on the other side of the river, but it's only a 6-minute walk via a pedestrian footbridge. So this is also a good choice for hotels. And there are discounted room rates. If you go to the conference website, there's very specific instructions on how to book these accommodations. As far as visa assistance, unless you're from New Zealand, I think we all need either a visa or electronic travel authority to visit Australia. And then they do have a website, which you can scan the QR code here or access this website to check which visa you would need to get or apply for to be able to enter the country. And then registration, even though registration isn't open yet, you can already send or you can already request for an invitation letter for you or for your delegation so you can kickstart the visa process. Please email the Victorian Chamber at this email address. You'll need to send them information by filling up an information sheet. You can access it again by this QR code or by the link on the screen. I can also send this to everyone later. And then if we have any other business, I suppose now is the time to discuss that. Any other questions or concerns?
Looks good.
Okay, so great. So thanks everyone. So I think this was a great meeting. Especially the highlight of today was Rishabh's show on the sustainability. And thanks for working on that, Rishabh, and looking forward to that as well. That would be a great asset for YEGAP and to present to Kathy as well. Definitely looking forward. I'm also working on my visa status now that I've moved to US for some time. So I'm working on the logistics. I'll keep you all updated. And I hope all of you are also working on the same. It's really exciting to hopefully see you all in Melbourne. If any further assistance is required, I know that FNCCI, Mr. Pradeep and team is really working on the visa process and expedite, because visa can take anywhere between 30 to 45 days for approval. So I would recommend to immediately start. Even me, I've just initiated the process. I might do it from Nepal itself, although I'll be coming down from US. So on the pin and the we will have it ready by then, right, Abby? YEGAP
The pin, yes. So the pin, now that we have decided which pin to actually have made, I'll put in the request to the company, and then that should be done, I think, in about 10 days or so. Probably 10 to 15 days it should be done. Jay's secretary is actually, or Jay's staff is actually helping with this. So we'll get that done in about 10 days. So yeah.
Regarding the visa, I think several of our members from Iran and Nepal and even the Philippines have already requested for invitation letters from Victorian Chamber of Commerce, and I think these have been all the requirements that have been already forwarded to them by Victorian Chamber of Commerce. So these are now in the works as far as our members from Iran, Nepal, and Philippines are concerned. So hopefully the rest will follow, because I think as mentioned by Mangesh, some of the countries it will take weeks or even months for the visa processing for Australia. So if you can start early as possible, then that would be advisable.
Yes, Mangesh, I have some question that I want the YEGAP members to consider, because there's a discount for people who purchase 5 tickets, right?
Yes.
So would YEGAP members would consider to buy tickets as a whole group? This is the first question, and the second question is, would you propose to let all the YEGAP members stay at one of the hotel, for instance, Novotel or Pan Pacific? These 2 hotels are very close to the conference center, so it's easy to get to the venue.
I think what we need to do on this is if we can start reaching out and getting confirmation on who are attending, and then propose a group strategy jointly instead of doing individually. So this is something that we can start doing, as Ernest mentioned, and also propose.
And
So,
because please go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, now we know the days of the conference and the program of activities for YEGAP members, and also the price for the tickets. So before the registration website is online, maybe we can do a survey to ask all the YEGAP members whether who is definitely going to attend the meeting in Melbourne, and then we can make decisions based on your confirmation. How many of YEGAP members will go to Melbourne, and then we can decide what we're going to do. We can register as a group, and we can recommend everybody to stay at the same hotel.
Abby, what I would request is the confirmation and the details, if you can share it with the group and start requesting for confirmation around it, and then we can go back with specific proposal or request to Victoria Chamber on based on the number of participants from YEGAP.
Okay, so I've already sent the activity lineup for the conference, I think last week. Yeah, but I'll send as well like more details on the conference, as well like this visa information also.
And the registration details, but the more important is us talking about how we are planning on the group registration and requesting for confirmation.
Sorry, the company visit, did you say?
No, not company visit. The group. So we are focusing on
the group discount. Okay.
Yeah, group discount and group confirmation, right? So requesting for confirmation from the YEGAP members. Yeah.
I'll send out a WhatsApp message as well as an email to everyone also. Do you want to set the date of the next meeting?
Yeah, late October, I think should be good. 26.
26.
The 26th?
Yeah, I recommend that.
Okay, October. So tentative date for next EC meeting is October 26th, which is a Wednesday, same time.
Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay. So that's it.